So, Seagate just dropped a bombshell of a quarter. But this isn't just about spreadsheets and sales figures. No, this is a story about how artificial intelligence is creating a literal tsunami of data, and how a technology many people thought was old news is suddenly becoming one of the most critical pieces of our future. So let's dive in and break it all down.
All right, so first things first, we have to wrap our heads around the core issue here, or the core opportunity, depending on how you look at it. We are living through a data explosion like nothing in human history. Every picture you snap, every video you watch, every single online purchase, it all adds up. And now you have AI just pouring gasoline on that fire.
And you don't have to take my word for it. Just listen to Seagate CEO Dave Mosley. He points to video as a perfect example. We're talking about a scale of data creation that is it's almost impossible to comprehend. And get this is all before those crazy AI video generators have even really hit the mainstream.
Yeah, just look at this number for a second. 20 million videos uploaded to YouTube every single day. Just 3 years ago, that number was 2 million. That's a 10-fold increase. It's insane. And all that data, well, it has to live somewhere, right? And that's where things get really interesting.
And just when you think the numbers can't get any bigger, they do. The next wave that's coming is something called agentic AI. Now, think of these less like chatbots and more like AI assistants that can actually do things. They can plan, they can reason, they can take actions all on their own. But for them to work, they need constant access to gigantic libraries of historical data, which creates yet another unbelievable driver for storage demand. So, this flood of data, it's a huge challenge for sure. But for a company like Seagate, it is a golden opportunity. So let's look at the numbers and see exactly how they turned all this demand into an absolutely record-shattering quarter.
First up, the top line, revenue. They pulled in a whopping $2.83 billion. Now that's almost $100 million more than Wall Street analysts were expecting. And let me tell you, in this market, that's not just a beat, that is a knockout punch.
And that success didn't just stay at the top, oh no. It flowed directly down to the bottom line. They blew past earnings per share estimates by 34 cents, which just goes to show you this growth isn't just for show, it is incredibly profitable. But here's the number that really made my jaw drop. Check this out, $607 million in free cash flow. In one quarter. That is their best performance in 8 years, and that's the kind of cash that gives you a ton of firepower to innovate and grow. Let's just put this in perspective by looking at the year-over-year numbers. It's pretty wild. You can see revenue, right here, is up over 20%. Now look at gross margin, a huge indicator of profitability. It leaped from about 35.5% all the way up to over 42%. But the real kicker? Earnings per share? Just look at that jump, up over 50% from last year. This isn't just growth, folks. This is a company hitting the accelerator hard.
So, the big question is, right? How is a company that many people think of as making old-school tech keeping up with this futuristic demand? Well, the answer lies in a truly groundbreaking piece of engineering.
It's called HAMR, H-A-M-R, which stands for Heat-Assisted Magnetic Recording. Now, I know that sounds super technical, but the idea is actually brilliant. They use a tiny, incredibly precise laser to heat up a microscopic spot on the disk for just a nanosecond. That little bit of heat makes the material much more willing to accept data, so they can write information in a much, much smaller space. It's like switching from a thick, clumsy marker to the finest tipped pen imaginable, letting them just cram way more data onto the exact same size disk. And this really drives the point home. Their biggest customers, we're talking the huge cloud companies, are calling these drives engineering marvels. And they're right. We have to stop thinking of these as just simple spinning disks anymore. This is a complex mix of mechanical engineering, material science, and even advanced photonics. And the really cool part is, this isn't a one-and-done trick. Seagate has a whole roadmap laid out. Right now, they're ramping up drives that can hold 3 terabytes on a single disk. Next up on deck is 4 terabytes, and their long-term, audacious goal? Hitting a staggering 10 terabytes per disk. That is how they plan on staying ahead of the data tsunami.
And I want to be crystal clear here. This HAMR tech isn't some science fiction they're cooking up in a lab. It is real, and it is happening right now. They shipped over 1.5 million of these advanced drives in this quarter alone. The technology is proven, it works, and it is scaling at an incredible pace.
Okay, so we've got this insane demand on one side and this incredible new tech on the other. But the question is, can it last? Is this just a flash in the pan? Well, as it turns out, the future is already booked. You see, the market dynamic right now is absolutely fascinating. On the supply side, Seagate is being very disciplined. They're not just frantically building new factories, they're getting more capacity out of what they already have by using technology like HAMR. But on the demand side, their cloud and AI customers see this unstoppable wave of data coming, and their #1 priority is simply making sure they can get their hands on enough storage for the future.
And here is the jaw-dropping result of that dynamic. Their entire production of high-capacity drives is sold out, completely booked solid, through the end of the entire calendar year. They are literally sold out of the future.
And the momentum just keeps building. After that record-breaking quarter, they're actually guiding for even higher revenue in the next one. They're expecting to hit around $2.9 billion. The trend is clear, and it is accelerating.
So let's pull all this together. What's the big takeaway? Why does all of this matter? Well, this story is about way more than just one company's earnings report. Here's what you really need to remember. 1. The AI data deluge is a powerful long-term trend. This is not going away. 2. Innovation like HAM is what makes it economically possible to store all this data. 3. Demand is so ridiculously strong that supply is booked out for ages. And 4. A company that many people had written off as legacy tech has now become an absolutely critical player in the AI revolution.
Which leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. You know, we talk endlessly about AI chips and complex software models, but as AI continues to create and consume data at an exponential rate, is it possible that the humble spinning hard drive is quietly becoming the most critical, underappreciated piece of technology in the entire ecosystem?